colors and stationery enthusiasts, it's Christy here, Snarky Wordsworth over on Instagram and Reddit, and today I have a currently inked for everybody out there. I've been using most of these inks for the last couple weeks of June, and now I'm super excited to continue to use them in July. Some of these you've probably seen before if you've watched some of my other currently inked, and a lot of them though are brand new to me and I'm absolutely loving them. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my everyday pens. These inks are some repeats and some not. This first one, which is in the pen I use in my everyday carry, and that is the Kaweco Brass Sport with an extra fine nib. I am actually using an ink that I had terrible luck with in this same pen a couple of months ago. And now, though, I am really, really loving it, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Okay, so this is Diamine's Silver Fox, which is one of their anniversary inks. And I had tried this via cartridge, say earlier in the year, and I was having terrible luck. I love the color. It's beautiful, beautiful, kind of silvery gray, as the name would indicate. And it just hard stopped to beat the band, man. Like, I could use it for like half an hour, stop for 30 seconds, and then it was just dead. And it was making me absolutely bonkers. So I switched out of it. And then someone suggested switching out from cartridge to converter. Now, I was a little bit skeptical because, you know, it seems like it wouldn't really make a difference, but I have not had a single hard start since switching to a converter. So yeah, I'm really loving it. I initially absolutely adored using this ink, other than the issue with the hard starts, because I think the color works really well for me, especially in my everyday carry. It's not too heavy. I use Mitsubishi Bank paper, and some of my other inks do tend to feather a bit more on it, but this Silver Fox is perfect with it. So yeah, I'm super excited to have discovered that. I just always have to sort of check because the Kaweco converter holds so very little ink. So I always have to check in the morning if I'm going to run out or not. But so far, so good. It's been pretty good luck, and I'm really enjoying that. Now, my second pen and ink combo is the ink that I'm using in my Elite 95S. And that is the Artisan Pastellier Encre Classique, and that's the Gris de Payne. I know I'm a terrible French speaker, so please don't hate me, but it's another gray, and I really love this one. This one has been in this pen probably since March of this year. I just love the way that this ink plays on pretty much all the papers that I use. And it's just so, I just really love the way it shades, even with the extra fine nib. It just looks really good. It's really reliable. It's a nice, smooth writing experience. And then, of course, I love this pen to begin with. So it's just a perfect combo for me. Okay, onward to my third pen ink combo. This is my Pilot Decimo with the extra fine nib. And the ink that I use in this one is the Herbin Poussiere de Lune. Again, with the French, apologies. But I've had some trouble finding a good purple ink to put in this pen, but I just keep going back to the Herbin, and I really, really like it in here. Yeah, it has just enough of a hint of sort of purple tone to make it a little bit interesting, but because the nib is so fine, if you're not really paying attention, it looks pretty much black, so I use it at work all the time, and no one ever notices except for me and a couple of my coworkers who know that I like odd inks. So yeah, I love this particular ink and pen combo. Okay, next pen and ink combo. This is actually my current favorite pen, mainly because I adore the nib. This is the Esterbrook in the limited edition Cola, and it's got that custom journaler nib, and I just flippin' love this thing. I seriously do. It just gives it just enough flair that it looks special whenever you write, but it's narrow enough to be a comfortable everyday writer. I don't really have to think a whole lot. And I have Vinta's Fortaleza in here, and I just think that the combination of the Fortaleza in here with the Cola pen is just absolutely perfect. It's just so cute. I really do just absolutely love the way that this nib writes. It's even better, obviously, in cursive rather than just the block, I think. But it always looks good to me. But I do wonder if I might swap this ink out with Touch's Golden Wheat at some point. But for now, I really don't know that there's much that's going to be more perfect for this pen. Anyway, absolutely love it. 100% would recommend. Just the ink in general is just really, really lovely and wet, and it shades like crazy. It's just a great, great brown if you're looking for sort of like a cola-y colored brown. Okay, the next pen is a fairly new one to me. This is Pilot Custom 742 with the SU nib, which is kind of their stub nib. I am absolutely loving this pen. I heard a lot of people have rather poor luck with this nib, but I really enjoy it. I think it's almost as comfortable for me to write in as the journaler nib, so let's hope that holds out. Anyway, I have, let's see, Pilot Iroshizuku Fuyu Syogun in here, one of my absolute favorite grays. It is also an incredibly wet ink, so that might be what alleviates any scratchiness that a lot of people complain about with this particular nib. I don't know, but I do really like this combination, so I would strongly recommend a wetter ink in it, and then maybe you won't feel the scratchiness that I hear people talk about. There's definitely feedback, but it's nothing that people who are fond of, say, like sailor pens would be adverse to. So anyway. But even now you can see how much shading is in this Iroshizuku ink. I love Iroshizuku inks in general, but this one is just so beautiful. Fuyu Syogun, just a gorgeous, gorgeous gray. I use it as often as I possibly can, so I'm excited to have a pen that I definitely feel like will be very good partnered with it. Okay, next pen ink combo. This one is my TWSBI Rose Gold Diamond Mini, and this one has my favored TWSBI stub nib in here. I love TWSBI stubs. It was the stub nib that started my obsession, and I just really like it. The ink that I have in here right now is Wearingeul's 12th Night. It's a really beautiful pink with loads of sparkle. I have had lots of luck with it in these particular pens, so take that as you will. But yeah, I just think it's such a fun pen to write with, and it's so cute. Like, seriously, it's so cute, and it just fits in your hand, and it's really lovely. Yeah, I really enjoy this one. So strongly recommended, and it does very well with shimmer inks. It does really well with sheeners, so it's a great nib in addition to being just a really cute pen. Okay, next one. This one is my Platinum 3776 in the Sakura Celluloid. I flippin' love this pen. I just think it's so beautiful. It has kind of that odd, almost snake skinny look to it. Plus it's pink and gold, and it's just perfect. And this time I have it filled with J. Herbin's Rouille d'Encre. And it's a fine nib, and it works very well in this one. It's a little bit lighter than other inks that I've used in here, but it still shows up really well despite being a fine nib. So you can see, even with a fine nib, it shows up just fine despite being a fairly light shade of kind of corally pink. Okay, another new pen for me. This is the Maiora, and it is the Alpha with a 1.1 stub nib. And it's in the Oro Grigio. And I really do like the look of this pen so much. It's my very first Italian at all. And I think it's such a stunner as far as like the resin and the gold and the ornate little detailing. It's really, really pretty. The nib is a little bit scratchier than I was expecting, just because I'd heard a couple reviews and, they had not mentioned that, but I am getting much more used to it. I also think it just, sometimes, you just have to play with a nib a little bit before it really starts to smooth out. And I think it's finally getting to that point a couple weeks in. And I currently have Troublemaker Petrichor in here, and it's a gorgeous ink, and it's been looking really well in this particular pen. So here's hoping. Okay, see right there, I had no problems whatsoever. It was not scratchy. It was like flowing beautifully. This particular ink looks amazing once it dries down. There's a crazy amount of shading in there. It's a little bit wet still, so you don't see all of the nuance, but it looks like the perfect fit for this pen. And again, just now, no scratchiness. It was great. I'm very happy. So as mentioned, sometimes you just need to get used to a pen and have the pen get used to you. My trusty LAMY 2000 in the stainless steel. This one has an extra fine nib, and I've used Spadina Rose from Ferris Wheel Press in here for I can't tell you how long. Has a huge reservoir, so this is actually a very long fill on this particular one. And I am thinking of swapping it out sometime soon, but I haven't quite gotten up and done it yet because I do really love Spadina Rose, but we shall see. You can see it's just a great pen. Before I saw the stainless steel, I had lots of thoughts about the LAMY 2000, but once I actually got my hands on this particular version, I just fell in love. I absolutely adore this so much, and I will never get rid of it. I just love this pen. All right, next up is my Edison Pen Co. Glenmont limited edition, and this is in a beautiful diamond cast. It's also one of my first this is one of the kind of sort of bespoke pens. It was part of a limited edition run directly through Edison, so it's not quite as custom as some of them, but I just fell in love with this one. I'd been thinking about doing a total custom one, and when I saw that they had some of these, I had to go with it. I like it that much. And currently I have this guy inked up with Sailor Manyo Koke, which I love the Sailor Manyo inks. They're so beautiful. And this is one of the multi-shaders. The nib on this guy is a 1.1 stainless steel stub. And it's a good writer. I like it. Look at that color. Okay. Can you see? It's just such a great blue greeny ink. All of the Sailor Manyo inks in general are excellent. The multi-shaders are all beautiful, but I do adore this Koke. I think it's just so lovely of a blue. Okay, next one. This is my LAMY LX in the rose gold. And right now I have this one filled up with Wearingeul's White Rabbit. A while ago, Wearingeul did this whole Alice line, and I really like this one. It's a super subtle kind of peachy shade. It actually reminds me a great deal of Color versus Brunch Date. So if you like Brunch Date, this one might be a good option for you as well. And I have a medium nib in this, and you can see it's got a good amount of shading, but it still looks really beautiful even in a finer nib than this. So if you don't like broader nibs like mediums or broads, you still can see this particular color in an extra fine. I've had it in my extra fines plenty of times. Okay, next pen. This I am still getting used to. I am not a big pen person. I am not a large pen person. I like pocket pens. I like really rather more delicate pens. And this, which is the Jinhao X159, is a monster. It is a very large pen. It's lovely. I really like it. It looks like a gigantic version of my Sailor 1911, and I do know that this is actually supposed to be a dupe for the Mont Blanc 149. I do know from practicing with this, I will probably never be interested in the 149 because it's just too big of a pen for me. I mean, for real, it just is too big. Once in a while, for novelty's sake, I use this, and I do like it, but it's a good thing. It never even dawned on me to think about the 149. The little baby one though, I want that. I want the Mont Blanc baby one so badly. Anyway, I have this pen with a fine nib, I want to say. Yes, with just the regular fine nib, and I have it loaded up with Monteverde's Moonstone, which is a gorgeous muted brown. There you go on that one. Again, as far as muted brown tones go, I really do love Moonstone. Once it dries down, you do get a little bit of shading in there, and it's really lovely and really subtle, but it's an excellent brown color. I actually am thinking about putting this Moonstone in my Sailor 1911S, which again is also this sort of ivory color, and I think if it works, since it works so well in this one, as far as like color combo, at least I think it does, it will of course work well in the 1911 Sailor. Okay, my largest pen, and this one feels significantly smaller than the Jinhao, I guess because it's probably a little bit less girthy, but I do love this. This is the Manyo Euphoria in the Goulet Pens exclusive caramel latte. I saw this pen and I was just like, I don't even care that it's a larger pen. I have to have it. I'm obsessed with caffeine and coffee, and it's just a really pretty pen. And I do have this in the medium nib. I did have it in the broad, and that was just insane. So this works with Schmidt nibs, and I don't know, Schmidt nibs are wetter than anything, man. It's just, wow. I actually think I might size down again and go for a fine nib, just because even the medium is a little bit much for me, and how small I tend to write. Like, a lot of this is much larger than usual for me. And yeah, and I have this inked up with Tatcha's Golden Wheat, which is a very wet ink. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I love it, but it's a lot. Like, look, it's just like flooding the page. There you go. But you can see it is the perfect pen for people who write a little bit larger and really enjoy a wet nib, because, man, this ticks all those boxes. This Golden Wheat is probably one of my favorite browns of all time. This is the one I was saying, I might swap these around a little bit because I do want to use the Tatcha Golden Wheat a little bit more than I do. Just a couple left. This is my vintage Parker 51 Demi in Cocoa. I have a whole video on this particular pen and the history of why I really was hardcore on the hunt for it. It has a 14 karat gold nib, and I currently have it filled with Ferris Wheel Press's Oyster Hour, which is a beautiful, beautiful golden brown. And it's sort of perfect for this particular bodied pen too. It's just a good combo. There you go. I really do love this particular Ferris Wheel Press ink. I know that their shimmers get a ton of press, but their shading inks look so good. I love this one. I love Peter Moss, Spruce County Post. They're just so many really good shading inks from them. And I've loved every single one that I have used of theirs. Whereas I've had definite problems with some of the shimmers, and that's honestly user error. I just put it in nibs that it should not be going in, kind of thing. But really, truly, I love their shading inks. Okay, final pen for today. This is another Diamond Mini, but this is in the aluminum. And this one, rather than a stub, is in extra fine. This is actually, I want to say, my very first TWSBI. I actually got this before I got any of the more entry-level TWSBI pens, of which I have many now because I love them all. And I have this one filled up with, I want to say Queen Allium. Nope, that's wrong. Blushing Mushroom. I have this one filled with Ferris Wheel Press's Blushing Mushroom. So even though this is an extra fine nib, I have a lot of luck with this particular shimmer ink in here. So fingers crossed. And there you go. Even with an extra fine nib, this shimmer ink looks so good. I really do honestly love TWSBI nibs. I think they work so well with me. I know that not everybody has loads of luck with TWSBI pens in general, because I've heard horror stories about cracking and all this stuff. Maybe, you know, it all depends on, you know, the kind of pressure you put your pen on when you're writing or what, but I always have luck with these nibs. I really do love TWSBI nibs. Okay, so let's get a little bit closer. Again, this is that Diamine Silver Fox, L'Artisan Pastellier Encre Classique, Gris de Pan, Herbin's Poussiere de Lune. Then we've got Vinta Fortaleza, Pilot Iroshizuku Fuyu Syogun, Wearingeul's 12th Night. The shimmer isn't showing up super well on my camera, but it's really shimmery on the paper. Then there's Herbin Rouille d'Encre and my Troublemaker Petrichor. I am obsessed with this particular ink. Actually, all three of the Troublemaker inks that I have, I really have been having so much fun with. Okay, on to Ferris Wheel Press Spadina Rose, Sailor Manyo Koke, Wearingeul White Rabbit, Monteverde Moonstone, Tatcha Golden Wheat, Ferris Wheel Press Oyster Hour, and then Ferris Wheel Press Blushing Mushroom. So yeah, those are all of my current inks. If you have found this video at all interesting, entertaining, if it's been useful, or, you know, if you found any inks that you think you might be interested in picking up at any point in the future because of this, please do consider hitting that like button. It really helps out the channel. Or if you are so inclined, please do consider subscribing. If you have any questions about any of these inks or any of the pens, please don't hesitate to comment. I love talking to other pen people. In all honesty, it's one of my favorite things. So please don't ever be shy. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, if you've made it to the end, you are ridiculously awesome. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Once again, thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye-bye.